welcome, Patricia.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Patricia. Welcome to the show again. I'm always pleased to have you on. Great. So you're going to talk to us today about various things we may not necessarily have heard about or known about. One of them is oxidative stress. Can you share some more information on that? Or first of all, tell us who you are and what you want to cover today.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me back. It's, I love what you're doing here. I think a lot of us thought all this stuff that we're dealing with now would be behind us. And I'm finding people are just as confused, maybe more confused than ever. So I love that you are addressing some practical things that people can do to look after their mental, emotional, and physical health. And love some of the guests you've had on before. Janine Johnson really stands out. But today I'd like to offer up a couple of things. One is a way to research. So many people now are wanting to research and do their own research, which is great. I think we need to certainly make informed decisions today, but we need to know where to go to do that research. And then something that would be a topic to research would be the topic of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress. Maybe you haven't heard of it, but you probably have witnessed it. So oxidative stress is a natural body function, because we breathe oxygen. And you've seen oxidative stress when you cut an apple in half and it turns brown. Or you leave
how does it work?
Well, just the exposure to oxygen makes things oxidize. It's just oxidizing. So you leave metal outside and it rusts. That's because it's exposed to oxygen. So we breathe oxygen. So our inside of us is exposed to oxygen. But teeny tiny molecular level, the cellular level. And scientists now know that oxidative stress contributes to inflammation, which contributes to disease. But other than breathing in oxygen, where does oxidative stress come from? Well, it certainly comes from breathing oxygen, but also the byproduct of our body burning food for fuel. That creates oxidative stress. Air pollution in the environment creates oxidative stress. Breathing the fumes when you're putting petrol in your car causes oxidative stress. A lot of prescription drugs cause oxidative stress, and just stressy stress causes oxidative stress. So it's all around us.
Yes.
And we're exposed to more toxins now than ever before in the history of the world. Ever before. It's in the air, water, food. So we need to know Technology, you're right. And all these things are necessary, but they're also very toxic. So we need to be aware, or being aware of oxidative stress. Then we can balance it. There are things we can do to counteract it, certainly.
Okay. So, and you're going to share some of those points today.
Yeah, should I share my screen now? Is that all right? I'll share my screen.
Sure. Let's see if we can get that going a minute.
Now, we have lots of research tools available to us. I think most of us probably go to Uncle Google. But if your doctor were to go to Uncle Google, what would you think about his findings? I would, if your doctor does, I'd suggest you get another doctor, but chances are he or she doesn't. So we have PubMed.gov. PubMed.gov. That is the largest repository of published scientific literature, published studies. And this is available to anyone to use. And you go to PubMed. I mentioned oxidative stress. So let's have a look at oxidative stress. Now my computer's going to get slow. Let's see. My little wheel's going round. So when it stops going around, I'll enter oxidative stress, and we will look at how many studies are actually published about oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress is fairly recent. There was a discovery back in the 60s that it was a discovery of superoxide dismutase.
So what is that? Superoxide dismutase. It's a long word, isn't it?
Yes. Well, that launched free radical biology. That launched our awareness of oxidative stress. So here we see nearly 250,000 studies on oxidative stress. Now, these bars here are quite significant. Each bar represents a year, as you can see. And then in that representation is how many studies on oxidative stress were published. So go back like 1960, nobody was talking about oxidative stress in 1960. And it wasn't until about 2003 it really ramped up because of this discovery of superoxide dismutase. Was in the late 60s, but it was still in the lab, still being developed. The scientists were trying to figure out what they could do with this enzyme in our bodies that gobbles up free radicals. They wanted to harness it. Well, in 2003, they were getting really close to that culmination. So this biochemist was releasing his findings. And so the scientific world is now learning about the importance of superoxide dismutase to combat oxidative stress. So if you are, say you want to think, well, I wonder if oxidative stress is affecting me. Well, if you're dealing with something like arthritis, let's have a look. Oxidative stress, well, my computer's gonna be a little slow, so I'll just continue to talk. I didn't say aging. Look at that. I typed in arthritis and it put aging. You're all witnesses of that. Well, right here we have, this is going to be over most people's heads, but mitochondrial dysfunction and oxidative stress in aging and cancer. So there's a correlation there. I'm going to go back to what I was typing in there so I can not be controlled by my laptop. So we see 2,000 published studies on oxidative stress and various forms of arthritis. So you can read those and come to your own conclusion. Let's put, we want to put in here.
Oh, how about inflammation?
Inflammation, that's a great one. Put in inflammation. And we have 42,000 studies on oxidative stress and inflammation as it relates to cancer, neuroprogression of chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure. Look at all these things. So that if you want to research, it's not difficult really to bring these up, and there's usually an abstract associated with these studies so that you get the synopsis of what they're aiming for and what the conclusion is. And something else interesting is, say maybe a friend has told you about a new supplement they heard about. And so you want to check and see if they have any science on that supplement. You can enter it here in this search bar and see if there have been any peer-reviewed published studies on that supplement. Now, what is a peer-reviewed published study? A published peer-reviewed study, peer-reviewed, as the name implies, it's been reviewed by peers. So somebody does a study on cancer and margarine, I don't know, making it up, and they submit it to PubMed to get published. Well, PubMed then gives that study out to other cancer researchers to try to disprove those findings. None of those cancer research specialists know who else is being given the study. It's completely anonymous. Only when they all come back unable to disprove that is it published. So only about 2% of these studies submitted to PubMed actually get published. And if you're a real research geek, you might know what a p-value is. So these studies should have a p-value, and that is the chance the statistics, if this study was performed over and over and over and over again, what is the likelihood it will come up with a different result? So obviously you want that to be very low. So now your friends told you about this supplement. You go to, you put it in here, nothing comes up. Well, that might be that it's going through the process. That doesn't mean no peer-reviewed studies have been submitted or published. I mean, they're working on them. But also go maybe to the website and they say, well, they've got all this these clinical trials on their product. Well, contact them and find out who's conducting those clinical trials. You want them to be third party, because there's far too many products on the market who are being studied, and the science is all just one or two scientists who are also making the product. And they also borrow science by using the science in the ingredients, but they haven't been tested on the actual product. So those are things to be wary of. But if you find a study on PubMed.gov, you can rest assured that's been thoroughly scrutinized. What else could we look for, Linda? Oxidative stress.
How about fibromyalgia? Can you look and see what how inflammation or how that affects oxidative stress? I guess.
Well, there are 108 studies come up, and they're fairly recent. 2018, I know I've had my little dance with that. And back when I had it, the doctors didn't know very much. So it's very recent science on this, but sort of up and down. They're sort of getting around to it, but it is fairly recent. So there's a good correlation there. We could, I don't know, you could let's look up, aspirin. Does anybody take aspirin anymore? Let's see if there are any peer-reviewed studies on aspirin. Well, there's 57. So there's 57. Let's look at statins. Now this is significant. You go to your doctor, he wants to put you on a statin. You've heard some things about it. You're not quite sure. It is quite controversial. So there's 59,000 studies on statins. So look at this, the pharmacology of statins. That would be highly informative. And treatment with statins in elderly patients. That's significant. Statins and abnormal liver enzymes, because we know they affect the liver. And I was looking at one recently that talked about the side effects. The side effects. The side effects sometimes are worse than what you go to get corrected in the first place. But again, it's look at the studies in recent years. They're going up and up and up. Now they're going down again. You could sort of map out some trends maybe. But this also gives you something to take back to your doctor. If you want to question and you want to question, it's really hard to stand up to a doctor sometimes. But if you have some studies with you, then he or she needs to enter into a conversation to put you at rest and show you how this is not going to be detrimental for you. I'm not going to make any claims or suggestions, but I do want people to use PubMed more and more to do credible research. Adverse effects of statins, myths and reality. That'll be a really good one. Anyway, those are some good tools there. And now we know that there are things that we can do to combat oxidative stress, and that's with antioxidants. Let's see what's in here on antioxidants. If I can spell. Okay.
So look at that. Really, what you're saying is PubMed is a good place for research rather than just looking on Google.
It's the gold standard in research. This is not Mickey Mouse research. 616,000 studies about antioxidants. So antioxidants and oxidative stress. I don't know. So 120,000
Yes,
studies on
we'll get to
oxidative
the
stress
question
and
in a minute.
antioxidants. Now, something important to know is, everybody's trying to sell you antioxidants. Eat loads of blueberries and all that. But if they have glyphosate on them, you're taking in more toxins than you're ever going to get rid of with a handful of blueberries. But our bodies make antioxidants, and that's where the focus needs to be. I know we don't have time to
in making antioxidants.
our body so our body wants to survive. It was designed to heal. We need to remove that interference so that it can. And so we need to help it make more antioxidants. That's something that declines as we get older, but the antioxidants increase as we get older. Oxidative stress increases as we get older, and the antioxidants go down. We need to reverse that balance, which we'd be happy to talk to you a little bit later. That's a huge topic to try to talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, a question that you brought up, I just want to expand it more. When we are young, or when we were younger, our bodies used to produce its own antioxidants and help keep us relatively healthy and mobile, etc. So as we age, you're saying that our bodies now don't produce the antioxidants that it used to, and it needs to be woken up. Is that sort of
it needs to be woken up?
Well, and inflammation is really, antioxidants is the thing that is stopping us from being able to, or dampening down the ability for us to heal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the oxidative stress is damaging the cellular pathways, damaging our cells, damaging our DNA, just damaging our body's ability to recover and repair. And reversing that oxidative stress is what gives the body back the abilities to repair. Lots of different mechanisms that are going on. Gene expression, gene expression gets damaged. Inflammation, it interferes with that gene expression. Seen lots of brain mapping of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's patients, autistic kids. You can see the inflammation in their brain. MRI scans show inflammation in the body, and that's because of oxidative stress.
So is inflammation then, or oxidative stress, the key problem, and sort of, is that what impacts on all the different health problems that we experience, do you think? Is that sort of the base?
Yeah, they're saying oxidative stress leads to inflammation, which leads to disease. So that's the process. So now we need to sort of distill that back into what is causing that oxidative stress. Well, sugar, in our diet, glyphosate sprayed on our food is huge. Processed food hugely impacts and contributes to oxidative stress. And prescription drugs.
What about exercise?
That is a very good question. So if breathing creates oxidative stress, then increased respiration during exercise creates more oxidative stress. But don't stop exercising. We need to exercise. It's just that we need to counteract that oxidative stress. And we know that, well, in the case of viruses, my take on the virus is don't be a host. The virus is looking for a host, and the host is someone with high oxidative stress. And so once that virus takes hold in your body, then it creates more oxidative stress because it needs oxidative stress for its own survival. So oxidative stress is huge, absolutely huge.
Yes. Well, that's very interesting then. So to find a way to reduce or dampen down the effects of oxidative stress, which lead on to inflammation in our bodies. And you mentioned about prescription drugs. Can you finish that thought on what you were saying?
Well, I would invite, I don't want to suggest anybody stop taking prescription drugs. Go to your doctor, certainly. But oftentimes, if you are taking steps to reduce your oxidative stress, people can wean themselves off a lot of prescription drugs. Don't do it on your own. Do it with your doctor's advice. But look up on PubMed whatever the prescription drug you're taking is. See if there is a correlation with that and oxidative stress. Then take that information to your doctor and have an informed conversation with him or her, and just see if they can help you wean off of it. I mean, so many people I talk to are taking one prescription, then they end up with another prescription to help the side effects of the previous prescription. They might be taking 18 different prescriptions, which are causing more problems than the reason they went to the doctor for in the first place. So being informed is not difficult. Making informed decisions is necessary now, very important now. And if this is piqued an interest, if it's confused you more, if you want to know more, get in touch with one of us, and we'd be happy to help you on the journey to research further. There's loads of information we can send you that we just don't have time to go over now. If you'd like to be in touch with me, my email address is staytunedforhealth@icloud.com. So it's staytuned, number 4, health @icloud.com.
Yes. Now, I did have 1 or 2 questions in. I don't know if you can hear me. The internet seems to be really acting up today. But yes, a lot of them was based about chronic discomfort and so on. Let's see if I can get an answer here. Oh, somebody's asking about phytonutrients, how they can help with the condition. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. Nutrigenomics or anything of that?
Well, phytonutrients are plant-based, which is what plants were. One of the things they were here for is to get our nutrients from plants. Just in the case of bread, I do a series, What's So Bad About Bread? And one of the things I cover is how wheat is getting such a bad rap right now, causing all sorts of stomach discomfort. And that's because the wheat is sprayed with glyphosate. It's sprayed twice, once as a weed killer, and then again as a desiccant to dry it out and get it in production. But the glyphosate destroys the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids. And so we're eating a lot of dead food, An apple looks like an apple. It's no longer an apple. Apple has no fewer than 15 different pesticides sprayed on it. I could go on and on and on. So we need to look at organic phytonutrients. Then we're getting what we were intended to get. So again, it's getting a little bit complicated eating these days. But certainly phytonutrients are the way to go rather than synthetic.
Yes, sure, indeed. So, we may have missed your email address because it was sort of cutting out, at least from my end, to hear it. So maybe we can go over that again. If people want to find out a little bit more about what Patricia was talking about, I think her email address, and you can correct me, Patricia, it was Stay Tuned for Health. That's number 4, Stay Tuned for Health @iCloud.com. Is that correct, Patricia?
.com. That's exactly right. I'd be happy to plug anybody into the series we're doing, What's So Bad About Bread. A lot of information about nutrients in our food, how to make a bread that even celiacs, gluten intolerant, Crohn's disease, like myself, can now eat without any problems. And it's a life-sustaining food.
Great. Okay, well, would you believe the time has gone so fast already? So I want to thank you very much, Patricia, for joining us today, and I'm sure we'll have you back another time. So that was Patricia Bowerman joining us to share some thoughts on how we can help ourselves and where to go to find reliable help on the internet.